me know if you can't, just write it in the chat. But hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here for the invitation. I love telling my story to everyone. I hear that's very inspirational because I come from a non technical background and I became a CNCF ambassador 2 years ago. Also, I'm an AWS container hero. So hopefully, this talk will help you, will give you more inspiration for your own career. And as they already introduced me, I'm a global technologist at Vim, and you can find me on all social medias as Julia F. Morgado. So before I start, I see we don't have a lot of people. Let me just open the chat to make sure everyone can see. Yeah, okay, great. Usually I do a raffle. I have a lot of credits like with the CNCF, AWS. If you want to post something on LinkedIn about something you learned from this talk, I'll raffle something nice and then I'll message you. But let's start. So just a little intro about myself. Before I joined the technology world, I used to be a lawyer. So originally, you might hear there's an accent there. I'm originally from Brazil and I went to law school there. But after that, I moved to the US and I couldn't work as a lawyer. So I decided to study business. I went to California and I studied at UC Berkeley. You can see there, I even gained some weight while studying, which is normal. And from there, I started working, in business, also marketing. And my last job was at an MSP. This was during COVID. I was working for a managed service provider. They provide IT services for other companies. So I was dealing with a lot of engineers, also IT support, DevOps engineers, software engineers, and that's when I started wanting to become more technical. I knew I wanted to do like a course or something. And then in 2022, I found this boot camp online called 100 Devs. So I saw on Reddit there was a post about this boot camp. And if you're interested, you want to become more technical and you don't know how to start, I have some guides. So I have YouTube videos about that. I have a blog post on how to start, and everything is available for free on the internet. And I really, really, really recommend it because it's not just about technical skills, it's also about the soft skills, which I'm going to talk a little bit more during this talk. But this is perfect for who wants to get in tech, for the first time, and also people that are already in tech but want to improve their careers. So part of my assignments, my homework for this boot camp, beside all the coding challenges and programming websites, etc., because it was more a full stack boot camp to become a full stack engineer. One of the homeworks were coffee chats. So what are coffee chats? Coffee chats are basically uh, short calls with people that are already in the industry, just to talk about what they do on a day-to-day basis. If they had, I used to ask if they had any advice for me because I was starting out in tech, and I did more than 100 of those. I would reach out to people on LinkedIn and ask them if they have 15 minutes of their time. And I have a spreadsheet with all the coffee chats I did, who I contacted, their LinkedIn or their email, and what we talked about. And, it can be a little awkward at the beginning when you're starting doing these coffee chats, but I have also a blog post about it with questions that you can ask and tips to make it less awkward and so you can feel more comfortable. And I also recommend doing that because you're gonna grow your network. Networking is one of the most important things in tech, and I believe in all industries, but it can really put you ahead of so many people, especially if you're looking for a job and if you're struggling, getting that foot at the door at different companies. It's all about who you know and who your network, the other people that know as well. So if you're interested, go just Google the complete guide to ace your next networking coffee chat, and you'll find the blog post. I believe this presentation will be available online, but also if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me after. Another concept that I applied while I was doing that coding bootcamp, and I still do even nowadays, is learning in public. What does that mean? Everything that I learn, any new concept, I try to create a piece of content out of it. So it can be a YouTube video, it can be a blog post, it can be, creating a repository on GitHub and documenting it. It can be a short on Instagram or LinkedIn as well, like just a regular post on LinkedIn, because everything that you are facing, other people are probably facing as well. The questions that you had and the struggles that you had, other people are going through that as well. So you're gonna help them. And by learning in public, it's showing other people the work that you're putting into learning, so it gives you credibility, it helps you with exposure. Obviously, it's going to take some of your time because you have to, stop what you're doing. If you are, debugging something, you need to document it and then publish it. But I would say the outcome of doing this is, tenfold. People are gonna get to know you, and you get exposure in your career. So this is great. And if you want to learn more about what learning in public means, there is a friend, he wrote a blog post, and you can also check it out. The link is on the screen. Now, another thing that people don't think about and they are afraid to start is contributing to open source. And you can start doing even if you're not technical. And it's a great place, a great way to make friends and to learn and decide where you want to go. Because in tech, there are so many paths that you can go. So you can become a software engineer, you can go more in the cloud space, you can go DevOps, infrastructure. Now there's platform engineer, there are AI, ML, there are so many things. And people starting out, they usually feel overwhelmed, which I did. So things that helped me were the coffee chats. So I would message people that work in different fields and ask them what did they do, just so I could understand better what their job entailed, and also contributing to open source. So you can start with, basic contributions like writing documentation and fixing documentation. You can localize documentation, which is basically translating content from one language to the other. I speak four languages, so I translated a lot of the Kubernetes documentation, the CNCF glossary into French, Portuguese, and Spanish. But depending on your language, I'm sure there are projects that are doing translation to your language and vice versa. So you can do that as well. You can create content. So blog posts are also can be an open source contribution. There are a lot of projects. You just have to open a PR, and they will add, if you gave a talk or if you wrote a blog post about that, you can add that to the project repository. You can open new issues, you can label issues, you can test the new features, clean up code if you're a little bit more technical. You can organize and volunteer or speak at events, which will go into that. But there are so many things, and you don't have to be afraid to start. You just need to know how to use Git and GitHub, mostly GitHub, but I also have a step-by-step guide for that. So I have several YouTube videos and blog posts on how to start for the first time, because I was afraid as well when I was starting out. So, I created content the way I wish I had found when I was starting out. So feel free to check it out. I have a lot of blog posts and videos, and the links are on the screen as well. And besides that, I think going out and meeting people is very helpful as well. So as soon as I started, studying coding, becoming more technical, I started getting involved in communities. So I started organizing events. At first, I just organized a meetup in my community. So in New York, it was a coding meetup. And we started with 3 people. And as it grew, we started having 100 people showing up, as you can see on the top left picture here on the screen, and it was great. Now I don't organize it anymore because I switched a little bit from just coding more to cloud and the DevOps space. The meetup still exists, but there are some other organizers, and I started organizing the KCD in New York, so the Kubernetes Community Day, the CNCF meetup in New York as well. And I also organized the AWS Community Day in New York. So, but you don't have to start at first organizing 10 meetups, 10 events. I would say start maybe going to these events, attending these events. Volunteering is a great thing that you can do because then you don't have to pay for the ticket, and people see that you want to help, you're willing to help, you're willing to learn, and you build a relationship with the other organizers, and maybe one day they can invite you to organize with them as well. So this happened with one of the meetups that are organized. We had a volunteer that would come every time, and not official volunteer, but he would come and help out in any way that that he could do. And then we started seeing his interest, and we asked him if he wanted to start organizing with us as well. So it's a great way to get involved with your local community and get exposure in the CNCF community as well. Now, another thing that you can do is speak at events. So you can start speaking at smaller events. First, you can actually start speaking at recording yourself on YouTube, or doing live streams in the comfort of your own house. I know this sounds scary, but the first one will probably be uncomfortable and scary, but it gets easier as you progress. And also speaking at local meetups. For instance, you can speak at this meetup that I'm presenting now. Just I would say reach out to the organizers and tell them, hey, I have this great idea. Would there be a meetup that I can present it? I'm sure they would be glad to have you on stage here as well. And one great tip that, as you can see on the pictures, that I do is usually I have also always, not always, but usually I have a co-speaker. So you have a less to prepare. The load is shared. So you prepare your part, the other one prepares their part, then you rehearse. But not only that, you get to learn a lot from the other person. So if you're afraid of starting or giving a talk in public, I would say find a friend and tell them, hey, let's submit a talk, let's give a talk at an event, and you're gonna see it feels great. I think once I started, I didn't want to stop, and now I give talks all over the world. I just gave 2 talks at KubeCon in London, and I love it. Also, I have a repository with all my talks, so this is a good idea as well to document what you're doing, and all my talks and my upcoming talks. If you want to check it out, it's on my GitHub. So Julia F Morgado as well. And you know, from all these things that I already told you, basically the goal is not only to learn and get exposure, but also meet people. Because at the end of the day, when you're working with other people. When you want to find a job, you will have to work with other people, so you need people in your life. If you want to learn something, it's easier if you learn with other people, if you're able to ask questions to other people. So I would say focus on meeting other people, on networking, but building those relationships. And everywhere I go to, I try to meet people also online. I still have coffee chats and live streams with people. If I'm traveling somewhere, I try to reach out to local people, or I try to organize a small meetup at that place. And that has helped me build a really nice network. And let's say nowadays, if I have a question about something that I don't know, I'll reach out to one of my friends that is an expert on that. Or if I want to give a talk at a certain conference, but I don't want to give that talk by myself, I'll reach out to someone. So having a community is really powerful. Having a network is amazing, and I really recommend everyone to do that. So from all that work that I've put in, I ended up becoming an ambassador, a CNCF ambassador on March 2023. And it was a big surprise for me because, I wasn't expecting that, especially coming from a non-technical background. And these are the pictures of other ambassadors at the KubeCons I've been to. Um, and some people are so technical, so I compare myself a lot to other people in the industry, and I used to tell myself, why am I an ambassador and other people, they have all the certifications from the CNCF, like the cubestronauts, etc. I'm not at that level, but it's okay because I can bring to the table other things that those people can't. We are unique in our own way, and we have to know our own value and use that to our advantage. So I believe I'm a good public speaker. I'm good at connecting people with each other. I'm good at personal branding and also creating content. So I've been helping other people with that, and the community in general as well. And I know it's hard. The fear of failure really paralyzes you. We are always afraid and thinking, what are other people gonna think of me if I fail on stage, or if I post something wrong, if I write something wrong on a blog post, or if I mention something in a video, they're gonna judge me. And that's super normal. It's totally normal. Everyone thinks like that. You're not alone. I also am afraid, but we can't let that paralyze us. For instance, I have a great example about that. I gave a talk at reInvent last year, and it was a level 300, 400 talk. But one of the feedbacks that I got was that the talk wasn't technical enough. And we don't like negative feedback, but in my opinion, I think feedback is very important, if it's positive or negative, because you can only learn from that. Now I know for my next talk, I will improve that the technical part. And people, they don't give negative feedback with wanting to hurt you. They want to, obviously they want something specific for themselves. They don't want to waste their time watching a talk if it's not what they were looking for. But you have to try to take that in a way that helps you grow, and not in a way that will block you and then you say, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. Use that if for you to grow. So in my case, I'm going to grow from that. I already thought about what could I have improved in that talk. I spoke with the other speaker, the one that we delivered the session together. We're already submitting something for this year. So, I'm not letting that stop me. I'm only using that as a stepping stone to grow and become better in my career and in my talks in general. Imposter syndrome is very, very common. It is normal if you feel that Believe me, I also feel that every day. Like I said, we compare ourselves to other people in the industry and people on social media. A lot of times, what happens on social media is not real. So people post all their achievements, etc., but you don't really know what's going on and if those things are true. But I would say I have a video on imposter syndrome because I feel like it's something that hits very close to me, hits home. Feel free to watch it. If you want to talk more about it, I also would love to chat about imposter syndrome. But it's normal. You just, again, you can't let that paralyze you. You can just let it come in and say, it's okay. Other people are doing a great job, but I can also do an amazing job, and I will do an amazing job because I am capable and I can learn and I have the courage to go and do things. So don't let imposter syndrome stop you from doing anything that you want. Now, one thing that I've done that has really helped me is I have a list of all my accomplishments, because a lot of times you're working and you have so much going on in your life that you forget of the good things that you did. So every time I do something, I give a talk at KubeCon, I gave 2 talks at KubeCons, I put in that list. If someone messages me and says, "Hey, Julia, I really liked that piece of content," or "What you did really inspired me," I take a screenshot and I put on that list. Because there are days, the journey is not always linear, is, bumpy. You have ups and downs. So when you're having a down moment, you look on that list and you will see why you remember, things that you did good, and that will give you a boost to keep going. So this is a great idea that I got from a workshop, and you should definitely implement it as well. Now, summarizing a little bit everything that I've told you already, mostly put yourself out there. Don't be scared, don't be afraid. You will only grow when you get out of your comfort zone. So go take chances and go even if you're afraid, because when you're afraid, it means it's something challenging. And once you surpass that challenge, once you quest conquer that challenge, you're gonna feel so good. So get out of your comfort zone. As you see here, the red circle is where your comfort zone. So you're at home, you're just coding on your laptop, and then you get out, and then there's the fear zone. Maybe you can start doing videos on YouTube, live streaming. And then learning zone, you can start submitting talks, you can start creating content, doing coffee chats with people. And then the growth zone, you can, give a talk at a conference like KubeCon or KCDs. There are so many local KCDs in each country. So you should, always aspire to go to that green circle, but go slowly. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. It's a journey that you're going through. It's not a destination. People usually mistake that because they think, oh, I want to get from where I am today to point B. So, like, I want to get that job. But no, it's a whole journey. That job is not going to be the end goal, because after that job, you might want to get another job, or you might want to get other opportunities. So your career is a journey, it's not a destination. And also enjoy the process. Don't you'll be afraid, but try to use that fear as something good in your life. So, what should you focus on from everything that I talked about already? Build your professional story, have the why you're doing what you're doing. When people ask me, oh, how did you become a CNCF ambassador, or why did you get in tech? I tell them, I used to be a lawyer, and then I worked as an MSP for several years, and I wanted to become more technical. And that's my why. I have a story to tell people Otherwise, people think, oh, like, people love listening to stories. So have your own story, your why you're here and you're trying to do what you're trying to do. Also, network all the time. Network if you are at a party, if you are at a conference, if you're in the Uber. I've networked at so many places, and you'll be impressed with who knows other people, and then they put me in contact with the people that they know. So really, really try to do that. Focus on the right skills. Not only technical skills, but also soft skills are really important. So communication skills, public speaking, personal branding, like creating content. If you want more about that, I'm building like a study group around personal branding. So if you're interested, feel free to reach out to me. I'll add you to the group. We are still building that. And get involved in communities. So open source communities, the CNCF, hey, they have several projects. Go on their Slack, and join, message them, tell them you're just starting out or you're curious and you wanna learn more. And other communities, I'm very involved in the AWS community. There are cloud communities. There are, Node.js communities, AI, ML communities. There are so many things you can do. Don't be afraid to get out there and explore. And yeah, again, enjoy the process. If you want to learn more, I have given a similar talk. The title is the same, but the slides were a little different. I updated the slides. But at KubeCon in North America in 2023, I gave this talk as well, and I had a lot of other tips. So if you want to learn more and get some inspiration, go check it out. It's on the CNCF's YouTube. And feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, or I'm also on Twitter, I'm also on Blue Sky, but LinkedIn is the one I use the most. And message me. I always want to chat with other people about their journey, or what they're going through. If you need some type of advice, I'm always happy to help. And again, it was a pleasure to present. If you want to have me again, I would love to come again and present on another topic. But I hope this was insightful and helpful. And I don't know if we have time for Q&A. Maybe we have a few minutes. I'm not actually following the time. Ashutosh, do
Yeah.
we have?
um,
Yeah,
yes, Julia, thank you so much. It was really
of
insightful.
course.
And yeah, we do still have a time for Q&A. So like five,
Cool.
6 minutes.
Yes.
So
Uh-huh.
people who have all the questions, they can put in the chat, and I'll be happy to ask Julia. That would be
Great.
better
Yeah.
way. So guys, we
Yeah,
are
I have the
waiting for
chat
questions
open.
because
Mhm.
that's really insightful from the Julia. Like, how to get into the how to break in the CNCF uh, ecosystem, how to get in, and it's really inspiring. So like in the meanwhile, people are not asking. I would like to ask, what is your tactics for growing the community, because we are facing trouble.
Growing a community?
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, I know it's hard,
Some secret
like I
sauce.
said, I started the meetup with three people, but the tactics to grow a community, I would say, is consistency. So what you're doing, keep going, keep doing these meetups online. Also sharing about that on social media and asking people to reshare with their friends, etc. Maybe important is trying to bring value in some way. Another idea is maybe reposting content. For example, once this meetup is over today, maybe you can share on social media a recap what was learned in today's meetup, or repost people's thoughts about the meetup. It's all about engaging with the audience, with the community. Yeah, it's fine if no one has questions. They can also ask me on LinkedIn as well. Oh, I have seen many tech events, but as a beginner, how do I write a good CFP? That's a great question. People usually struggle with that. It's funny. I also have a blog post on that. I'll try to find that, and I'll post it on my LinkedIn. Or Karan, if you wanna message me on LinkedIn, I'll share the link with you. But first, with AI is your best friend for everything. So usually, I have an idea of what I wanna write. I use AI, ChatGPT, to help me, make it better. But you have to be careful because I have reviewed a lot of CFPs for KubeCons and other events, and we can tell when it's written by AI. So whatever you get from ChatGPT, you have to tweak it with your own words. Just use it as, a stepping stone, a first step, and then you have to tweak it with your words to try to make it sound more natural. But always in your CFP, in your abstract, you have to show the value. Why people would want to watch that talk? What are you gonna teach the audience? Otherwise, the reviewers, the organizers from the event, they're not really gonna understand why they should accept your talk and not someone else. Also, depending on the event that you're submitting to, if it's a KubeCon or a KCD, which are the events part of the CNCF, it's really helpful if you talk about open source projects, part of the CNCF, if you mention them. If it's a more technical talk, maybe you can include a short demo, but also be mindful of the time that you have. This is a topic I'm passionate about. Maybe if Ashutosh, if the organizers here would like, in a few months, I can give a talk about writing a good CFP. That's a great idea, I think.
Yeah,
But
that would be great. We can do
yeah,
it. We can do that.
exactly. But yeah, it's an art. You get better as you do more of it, and also ask for feedback. If you don't get accepted to a conference or to an event, ask for feedback why you didn't get accepted. About, was it something about your abstract? And usually organizers are happy to give you feedback. Yeah, it's indeed an art. And everything is a skill, like technical skills, that the technical skills that you have, or soft skills. Writing a good CFP is another skill that you build on it. You start sucking at it, and then the more you do it, the better you get at it. The more you learn, oh, I should structure it this way, or I shouldn't mention these things, and it's about not being afraid of putting yourself out there and trying. Because for me, the philosophy I take in my life is, the no you already have, so go for the yes. In worst case, you'll get the no. You understand? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the best statement,
Hmm.
and I would
Yeah.
really support it because there is a lot of hype about AI. AI will not take your job. It
No.
can take your coding skills, but it can't take your
Hmm.
consciousness, right? The
Yes,
creative part, the
exactly.
art part, which
Yeah.
Divine also said. The name itself is divine, so he's right. So I believe if there is no other questions, so
Yeah,
it was
I will pass it to Divine, and
yeah.
I appreciate everyone. It was a pleasure. Thank
Yes,
you.
same here, Julia. It was lovely talking to you.